Crises usually come and sometimes they hinder us from achieving our goals, our objectives, our dreams, our purpose in life. But we can use crises as instruments and tools to fulfill our objectives in life. And so I'll be sharing with you 5 key principles of maximizing crisis. I'm going to read a portion from one of the greatest teachers and mentors and leaders that ever existed, and we're going to draw inspiration from some of his words. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. From these words of Jesus Christ, we're going to draw some key principles on maximizing crisis. The first thing about crisis is to understand that crisis come to everyone. Crisis may come in different levels and in different shades, but everybody who at one point experience crisis. Crisis will come to the rich, to the poor, to the black, to the white, the educated, uneducated. They all have to face crisis at one point in their life. It comes to the wicked and also to the righteous. Crisis will come. No one is immune from crisis. The second principle about crisis is that crisis come to disqualify. We read from this parable that when the crisis came, the man who built his house on sand was tested and he was disqualified. His building was disqualified. So crisis do come to disqualify. People who build on injustice, people who build on hate, people who build on jealousy, people who build on negative competition, deceit, backbiting, betrayal, their house will be tested. Crisis will test them and disqualify them. Do you know of people in your neighborhood, people who suddenly rose, and you know that they had a wrong foundation of their rise to whatever you may call fame, power, money, and suddenly you see them crashing? It's just a matter of time, because when crisis come, they will disqualify some people, they'll disqualify some houses. The third thing about crisis is that crisis do come to qualify. Remember, the person who built his house on the rock, his house was qualified. Building on the rock simply means that it had a solid foundation. People who build on justice, people who build on purity, people who build their houses on righteousness, people who build their houses on love. When crisis comes, it will test and promote them. So crisis will test and qualify some people. The fourth principle about crisis is that the source of your information will be tested. The source, he who hears these my words. Oftentimes we listen to different kinds of people. What's the source of your information? What's the source of your information concerning your marriage? What's the source of the information concerning your life, concerning your identity, concerning your skin color? What's the source of your information concerning your future? What's the source of the information concerning who you are, your purpose? What's the source of your information? He who hears these my words, because oftentimes we receive information from wrong sources. As a matter of fact, Eve received information from a wrong source. And because of that, the whole human race went astray. Who is coaching you? Who are you getting information from? What's the source of your information? You watch TV, you read books, but what's the source? We're speaking through those media. We're speaking because the source of the information will determine the quality of your life, and that will be tested. Finally, the fifth point, or the last point on maximizing crisis, is that implementation guarantees success. You know, if you work with the international community, one of the things you will hear often is norm setting and norm implementation. And most often, international organizations, they spend a lot of money to put in place policies and treaties. And you have nations who just go sign these treaties for the sake of it, because they want to prove that they are civilized. Once they go back home, they don't domesticate, they don't implement these policies in their own countries. Similarly, you have people who do a lot of listening to God's words. They go to church, they listen to God's word, but they never apply the principles of God's words in their lives. They never domesticate what they are hearing. This great teacher, Jesus Christ, said he will hear these words and put them into practice. It's not just about hearing, it is putting these words, these principles into practice. Once you put these principles into practice, the storm will blow, the wind will come, the rain will come, crisis will come, challenges will come, but your house will keep standing. Why? Because you have been listening and putting these words into practice. So these are the 5 principles or the 5 keys of maximizing crisis. I hope you will take time to apply these keys and these principles in your life, so that when crises come, because they come to everyone, when they do come, you will soar high, you will go higher rather than going down, rather than crumbling and collapsing, because your house is built on the rock, on the right principles. God bless you. Bye-bye.